So starting from like the problem we are trying to solve, although I'm coming from like an infra background, but I know like solving like a real world problem actually is very valuable. So the problems we are trying to solve. So we are surrounded by billions of internet of connected and intelligent devices, which are observing and recording us all the time. And the learning information about ourselves that gets, collected, owned, and used, not by ourselves, but by corporate intermediates like Google, Amazon, the big ones, or maybe some manufacturers, And the dream of this smart, safe, efficient future is basically threatened by this intrusive surveillance and ubiquitous like advertising almost everywhere. And we need a new paradigm if we want to grow like the IoT devices from billion to hundreds of billions. Apparently, like there's a gap, right? So it's not easy. There is a gap between users' expectation and the manufacturer's capability. So users, of course, they want something, trust and private and also innovative and convenient to use, right? But on the other side, like the device manufacturers, like we interviewed with probably like 100 each of them, most of them have this like a long tail device manufacturers. So they cannot do this trust and privacy because they don't have the technology. They don't understand the internet, let alone Web 3.0, right? So they cannot do like a too cutting edge stuff, but they know how to make hardware awesome. So there's a huge gap between user and manufacturer, and that's where IoTeX platform gets fitting. So simply put, so IoTeX is a platform to enable Internet of Trust things. It's just composed of many layers. I'm going to talk about this later. But like the entire purpose is we are going to help like the device manufacturers to convert what they already have, like an internet of like smart devices into something called Internet of Trusted devices, and to make users happy and to let the number of devices grow as time goes by. So as you can tell, this platform is composed of mostly like 3 layers. Sitting on the ground is like the blockchain infrastructure, which is basically what we built from scratch from 2017 Q4 to actually 2019 Q3-ish. So we use almost two years to build this blockchain from scratch. We have our in-house design of the consensus. We have smart contracts. And for now, this blockchain has been running in production for almost like 1 year, and processing over 5 million transactions running by 70 plus delegates globally. So it's running pretty smooth. So this part is done, and we are working on the middleware. So that's where we are right now. So first we have this decentralized identity layer for devices and users, which is basically leveraging like the blockchain's capability to make everything decentralized. So this part is almost there. And then sitting on the identity layer, we do have this provider agnostic storage layer, which we do work with Filecoin, IPFS, and BlueZilla and storage potentially. And also some user wants AWS, GCP, that's fine too. So we just want to integrate with different storage providers to let user have their choice to choose, where to put the data. And even on top of this one, we do have like a confidential computing layer. We are working like internally. The idea is very simple. Once user has encrypted data stored, for example, on BlueZilla, then there must be a way like a user without compromising the privacy can compute something out of this encrypted data. So that's where this confidential computing is actually kicking in. And of course, like a third layer is the onboarding layer. It's basically composed of SDK, API, dashboard tools, everything, to interfacing with users, devices, and applications. So yeah, so that's like a platform is huge. It's beautiful, right? We already have like the Linux part of this platform ready, and we just cannot wait, to really focus on one vertical and try to solve the problem we promised. So that's where we get started in the camera space, which basically starting from last year. So the problem here is a very, very obvious. Like everybody has a home camera, and everybody have like a privacy and security concerns. Privacy meaning like I'm not sure if Google is watching me because I'm using Nextcam at my home. So he knows me better even than myself, right? So security concern means because the entire account system is actually sitting on top of like a centralized account system. So if someone get my password, someone like this system have some bug, maybe have some data breach, so other people can actually log into my home camera and see what I'm doing right now, which is very scary. So we actually partner with like a hardware manufacturer, as we promised, and use the IoTeX platform and IoTeX technology, everything put together. And we have this thing called Ucam, which is the world's first truly private home security camera, which was debuted early this year in the CES, which was the CES Innovation Award. This Ucam is first like a camera, right? So it has all the cool features a camera could possibly have, like 10, 20, like HD video. It can rotate, so it has a full like a 360-degree coverage, motion detection, night vision, two-way speak, all the fancy stuff it has. On top of that, it also has like the entire concept we do have is the same, very similar as a Web 3.0 concept. Like a camera and user, they have their own identity, and all the data actually goes out of the camera, captured by the camera, is actually encrypted by that key, meaning like any of the user can have access to the data. It's the same idea as you have the private key, you have your Bitcoin, right? So now you have your private key, you have your camera data, and no one else, can read into your data. And then on top of this, like encrypted data, then we can do some very simple like confidential computing to generate like a face detection, object detection, so on and so forth. So it's a very innovative product. And although it has all these cool tech features, like I was telling my team, like the design principle for this one is to make my grandma can use it, right? Like people has zero knowledge about blockchain, about privacy, about DID, computational computing, can use this camera like seamlessly. So that's our like a starting point. So as you can tell, like the interface here is pretty user friendly. Like it's not too different from like a normal like a camera app. Everybody can just click and use this one, but the underlying infrastructure is huge, right? So that's basically like the entire picture about Ucam. So so Ucam is real. So we have opened like the pre-order, like the first 3 days we sold out like 100 more. So this is just start, and we are doing like a beta testing in 200 plus California homes. So they are coming from very different background. Artists, programmers, non-tech people. Very different, very mixed crowd. And the general feedback is very good. And we are iterating the product based on this feedbacks from people. And also we got lots of like mainstream media coverage. Anyway, yeah, if you're interested to take a look into Ucam, feel free to pre-order here. But like one step back, like we are still like a platform company. So Ucam is just the first concrete product we're having, for people to actually test this technology. So if you want to build something on top of IoTeX, feel free to take a look here in the docs.iotex.io, and we have like a full treatment for you. Yeah, so I think that's all. That's all about my presentation. We definitely have like the second, third, and fourth, like the IoT smart devices in the pipeline that's going to be converted to like the similar, into the similar fashion of Ucam. And stay tuned for more news about us. Thank you all.